Houston Running Zone, the ultimate podcast for runners in the Houston area, featuring the everyday runners who inspire us, clubs, gear, races, and runcations. Houston, we've got the runs.
All right, today in the zone, I have a runner, Ironman triathlete, and head nutrition coach, Focus Fit Nutrition. She's been on the podcast before, but more importantly, she's here to give us some nutrition tips we can use right away. Is Lisa Ferrara. Lisa, welcome to the zone.
Hey, Keith. Thanks for having me.
Well, you did some amazing stuff last episode, so I'll make sure to click a link so you can get some good basic tips. Not even basic tips, tips you can use right away, but I reached out to you because I'm on your email list. You have some great tips. Highly recommend it. You're not spamming everybody every day. You're, once a week you get some tips, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But you had this one called upgraded. I forgot how you pronounced it, but I was like, this is cool. This is something everybody can use, whether you're a regular athlete, elite athlete, weekend walker, whatever. Can you kind of tell us what upgraded is?
Sure. So the focus of that newsletter was really helping people understand how to just make small upgrades in their nutrition. So we called it You've Been Upgraded. And these are ways that you can take something that might be in your standard American diet right now and make a better choice. And the idea behind making the better choice is that, none of us are really seeking like diet perfection, but all of us can do small things to make ourselves healthier, better, less subject to cravings, and more nourished every day.
Okay, I like that. We're not striving for perfection because that's just not going to happen for anybody, I'd imagine, right? There's what, 1% that can be perfection?
Well, and I think let's pause on that for a second. When we talk about perfection, like, what does that even mean? Like, our food is there to help us be healthy, help nourish our bodies, help our bodies function, help our bodies do our sports that we love. But also, like, food is cultural, right? It's how, for, generations, for hundreds of years and thousands of years, people have communed over food, right? And sometimes those are feasts like that we tend to associate with like Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. There's special food involved. Like, we're not trying to take away any of those significantly cultural moments that have value and are precious to us. What we are trying to do is make sure you're actually nourished, right? Which the standard American diet of like fast food, quick food, everything doesn't actually do. It's calorically dense, but nutrient poor, right? So we're trying to make our diets more nutrient rich and calorically balanced, right? But in that matrix of being nutrient rich and calorically balanced, there's room for some treats, right? And we just want to make sure that there's not too many of them, right? And so when we say you've been upgraded, we're looking at like, how do we up the nourishment of what we're actually consuming?
Yeah. And it seems super simple. Can you give us some examples? Like one I saw was chips upgrade to nuts, which to me is nuts. Yes, they are expensive, but compared to chips, they're not expensive. I mean, it's easy, it's quick, kind of walk through people a couple of examples of what they can do, which is probably somewhere in their pantry or your local grocery store. It's super simple.
Sure. So chips to nuts are a very good example, right? Like potato chips, if you think about them, there's virtually nothing in them, right? It's a little bit of carbs, it's salt, and it's loaded with fat. So, and it's like not heart healthy fat. So what we are trying to do instead is say, okay, with like some lightly roasted salted nuts, like almonds, pecans, even peanuts, which are technically a legume, you could actually introduce some healthier fats to your diet. They're going to fill you up more than chips, and they still meet that like salty, crunchy, like craving that we sometimes have. The catch with nuts is you just have to be mindful of the portion, right? If you're grabbing them by the handful, you can quickly overdo it with nuts. But if you aim for like an ounce or a quarter of a cup, you can eat them with no issues at all. And they're a great snack for like actually making sure that you're full.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of times, especially chips, you get the whatever $3 bag and you just eat it right out of the bag, which is probably obviously the worst thing you can do. But how can people portion out nuts? They get like a Dixie cup, a plastic cup, a bag. What's a good way to figure out, like, because there's 10 servings in a 10 or a bag. You're like, I don't know what it is.
Right.
Do you recommend people portion it out ahead of time? I mean, that's what I do, just because I'll eat the whole bag.
Yeah, I totally recommend people portioning things out in advance. So, for one thing, they're sold in portions. Like you can buy like 100-calorie packs of them in the snack food section, or it's actually less expensive to buy them in bulk. Or, if you want to buy a Costco size bag, by all means do it, but then come home and divide those up into portions. And you can use just a 1/4 cup measuring cup just to scoop it out and put them in individual containers. I've actually found for individual snack containers, you can buy on Amazon like baby food containers. Oh. They're like, 1 inch tall, 2 inches in diameter, and they're perfect for snacks, and they have reusable lids. So, and that way you're not just using tons of Ziplocs or things like that. You can also use a food scale to measure things out. So if you just want to measure out like 1 ounce or 28 grams, that's another way to make sure that you're measuring things out evenly. But I tend to like do all that when you get the bag of food, and then it's just done for you so that you can like go to your pantry, grab it, and leave, versus like stand there, measure it, blah, blah, blah. Nobody has time to do that. And so that's when you tend to be like, I'm just going to grab a few and a few more. And like, maybe that was only half an ounce, So grab it, get out. It also helps too, if you're like, with school starting, everybody's super busy and going to be packing lunches and things like that, and going to be going back to their offices, hopefully. Then it also makes it easier for packing to go too, if it's already pre-portioned.
See, those on Amazon, they come in a 5 or 10 pack. You just stack them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually they come in like packs of 12, right?
Nice.
So and they're cheap. So that's just a great option for quick snacks. And also like Ziploc also makes like reusable small snack containers. So there are a lot of different options out there.
Cool. And what would be, like, if they did a search on Amazon, what would be the term? What is it called?
Literally search baby food container.
Okay. I can do that.
So it's for people who make their own baby food. I was one of those people. You can find all kinds of containers out there and use them till the end of time.
Oh, cool. We're weird too. Yeah. There you go.
Good for you.
It wasn't even that much cheaper, but it just felt better about it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It was, well, yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Yep. How about a couple of other examples so people know? Because I like it. I like the nuts. Texture element is huge for me. So what other substitutions or upgraded substitutions can people do?
Yeah. So another substitution that I really like is when people have sugar cravings or just kind of want a treat, instead of reaching for cookies, cakes, brownies, any of that stuff, instead go straight for dark chocolate. So, and when I say dark chocolate, I mean really dark, like go full on, like 72%, 85%, just straight dark chocolate. And it's really intense. So you'll eat about an ounce of it and you're like, I'm good. I don't need a lot of this. And it barely has any or no sugar added to it. So, you don't have to feel like you're like feeding that sugar bug. You're less likely to overdo it. And then the cocoa in chocolate actually contains flavonols, which can help lower your blood pressure, improve how your blood vessels function. If you're PMSing, it can meet that craving need. So there are a lot of benefits to doing that. And it's far lower calories and less likely to make you overdo it, as opposed to like having a bag of cookies in the house staring you down.
The single serving, supposed to be 12 servings. Yeah. Those.
Yeah. Exactly. Because nobody ever just wants one cookie, right?
No, those are quitters.
Yeah.
Hey, what about drinks? I saw you did soda, which okay, here's the weird one. People are like, well, I drink diet soda, and I'm like, oh, I don't have time for this conversation. Soda versus what could they substitute?
Yeah, so I would put in the category of sodas that need replacing, like traditional Coca-Colas, energy drinks like Monster, all of those things, diet sodas, Coke Zero, Diet Coke, all that stuff. All of those things have consequences to our blood sugar. And so whether it's using sugar or some non-nutrient sweetener, all of those have been shown to create blood sugar dysregulation. And our goal is always to keep our blood sugar as even as possible to reduce cravings, improve energy, and to reduce in the load on your pancreas and everything that's actually trying to process what you're eating. So we'd recommend moving to like trying some more herbal teas. Also, you can get like good decaffeinated coffee. I'd even throw that in there as an option, where you can get like flavors, you can get different options that you can eat it cold or hot, where you're just less likely to create all of those blood sugar issues, and you can still get something else to drink that doesn't feel special and doesn't create other issues for you. So, but I think we just tend to skip that, right? And like, we're like, that takes time, or I don't have it, or it's not part of my culture, but you can make it part of your routine and make it so that it's like in the late afternoon, when you might be reaching for a Coke, like take 5 minutes to like go outside, get some tea, go back to your desk if you're, working, and use that as your refresher and your energy booster instead of just like a quick can that's actually not doing anything positive for you.
And well, we got the one from Starbucks, the Tazo, and it's red. I don't know, or they sell it at Starbucks. I don't know where we got it. Probably Amazon. But they had it where I could fill up a 2-quart glass mason jar. And it steeps for 5 minutes, and I just throw it in the fridge after it's done being hot, and I can have that for 3 days.
Yeah, that's a perfect example, right? And you can also make it in bulk. So, and things like that are minty or gingery, like, well, one, ginger is really good for your digestive tract, but like also like they have a lot of flavor. They don't actually need sweeteners. So.
Yeah, I have to thin it out, but maybe it's just me. So I guess what I was getting at was like, for sweeteners, obviously sugar does something bad. A lot of the artificials, or all of them, I have no idea. That's why I'm asking, what can people do either to sweeten it or in place of sweeteners? Because we have that sweet craving if you're so used to having a soda or a diet soda or things like that.
Yeah. So what I like to recommend with starting, especially if you're trying to like wholesale change your drink and your routine, start with just like some sugar, but like put it in perspective. 1 12-ounce can of soda has 7 to 10 teaspoons of sugar in it. 7 to 10, right? So if you make a cup of iced tea and you put a teaspoon of sugar in it, you're still light years ahead of where you would have been if you'd had a Coke, right? So that's really, really good. If you do that and over time you're like, oh, well, I can cut back a little bit. We'll start cutting back, cut it in half, or, cut it to 0. If you cut it to 0 and commit to doing it for like 2 weeks, your taste buds are going to change. It will take time and it takes consistency, but your taste buds do adapt to less sweet things. And in the process, things like fruit and vegetables start actually tasting a lot sweeter to you. So from that standpoint, your natural food will taste better to you than it does when all of those taste buds are hyper stimulated every day by these super, super sweet drinks.
Okay, that's cool. So I think people, as they strive for perfection, or they get on a fad diet, and like, I can only eat, things that start with the letter K, whatever.
Yeah.
So 10 teaspoons, that's almost a quarter cup. Right.
Right.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
if you have 2 teaspoons, you're way ahead of the game. Okay.
Exactly. And like, the other thing I'll say too while we're talking about sugar, because our audience is obviously runners, right? Like they're around your running and while you're running, it can make sense to take in an electrolyte drink with sugar, right? Because your body is in motion. It is trying to stay hydrated. It is burning up carbohydrates. You're trying to keep your metabolism working. Like that is a completely different scenario from when you are sitting at your desk and stationary, right? Or just trying to keep up with your day. So it does have a function in a runner's life, but we want to keep it mostly around when you're running.
Okay. Yeah. Not to sit down at a desk job for 8 hours. Okay.
Right. Right.
All right, cool. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I had a Coke because apparently it was that or a garden hose water. And when it went flat, it was almost too sweet. So does the carbonation kind of numb your sweet buds, or what is up with that?
It's definitely so all of the taste that we get in processed food is manufactured to like be, as they call it, hyper palatable. So like as like stimulating for your brain as you can handle without tasting bad. So they're trying to layer in, in food, like as much salt, sugar, and fat. That's like the trifecta combination of what they're trying to get to you to get like all of your dopamine receptors firing and get your body like, ooh, give me more of that, and get that like cocaine response going. With drinks, they're doing it with sugar and carbonation. So it's like, how much sugar can I get in there, and carbonation and caffeine that also gives you that like that hyper palatable response. So, which is why when you take one of them out, you're like,
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's talk about proteins. You have steak to salmon. How do you explain that I mean, people know they have to have more omegas, but kind of explain the process of going from steak to salmon. Oh, and also before I forget, we got also mentioned for vegans, for whether it's for, personal reasons, whatever, people are looking for vegan friendly options that are healthy. Cause I know there's a lot of junk out there.
Right. Okay. So first of all, you mentioned we're talking about proteins, right? So as athletes, it's really important that we're getting in enough protein to make sure that our bodies are recovering from our workouts and not just being torn down and beat up from our workouts. It helps us keep our energy levels up for tackling things. And it also helps us to stay healthy and stronger over time versus just continuing to absorb the beat down of our training. So the problem with like the standard American default is we tend to gravitate towards really fatty proteins. So highly processed proteins. So like, hamburgers, hot dogs, sausage, all of those things are like, yeah, there's some protein in them, but there's also a ton of fat in them, and it's not healthy fat. So what we're looking to do really is replace some of this like more processed meat with higher quality protein sources. So for a lot of people, they would really benefit from moving from those options to things like higher fat salmon. You could look towards like Albacore tuna. Those are all high in omega-3 fatty acids, which is really good for like anti-inflammatories or for anti-inflammation. It also helps with your neurological health. And in general, we don't get enough omega-3s. So we want to make sure that we do that for our heart health as well. So switching from like steaks, burgers, hot dogs to salmon is a great option. Another option, if you're really loving like, Sunday grill day and you want a steak, switch from like a traditional steak to a grass-fed, grass-finished steak. Those are also higher in omega-3s because those animals are pastured. They're eating their natural diet, and they are not as stressed versus like feedlot cattle are really, really high in omega-6s, which are pro-inflammatory. So that's what we're really trying to avoid most of all. So Keith, you asked about vegans, right? And
I do want to ask about the steak thing. So
yeah,
grass-fed or grass-fed and grass-finished, as you said, because my dad grew up on a farm. He's like, they used to feed him corn to fatten him up.
Yeah,
it's funny. And I barely eat any red meat, maybe once every 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks. So grass-fed, you can get it pretty much at any grocery store now.
You can now.
Sure, you can get it even at Walmart and Costco. Are there specific cuts, or is it just more? To me, it's more filling. There's more flavor. Or like, is there a specific cut that you recommend, or stay away from certain cuts, or as long as you cook it correctly and you don't overdo it? What's a good way of what's a good rule of thumb, I should say?
Yeah. So grocery stores now, you can get it almost anywhere. And that's a great example of how the market has gotten smarter. Consumers have started asking for it. So the grocery stores are following consumer demand. So this is a good example of like, they are going to sell what we want to buy. So I just think it's worth like reminding everybody that you vote when you buy. So that's the reason it's now more accessible, is people are learning about it and they're actually seeking it out. In terms of what to buy, typically ground beef is what's most accessible. So if you get the ground beef, make sure that you're still draining it, right? Because you don't want to like eat a ton extra. Or if you're cooking it on the grill, it's going to drain naturally. The other thing is like, I still tend to lean towards leaner cuts. So more like filet mignon, a New York strip steak where you can trim it, or things like a flank steak. Those are all pretty good options. Things like ribeyes and are a lot fattier, and that's just more saturated fat than you typically want to eat in a single meal.
Okay, cool.
So,
awesome. So I'm done interrupting you.
No, that's good. It's good questions. Yeah. And like the whole like corn fattening them up, like you're like, it's like, that's not normal. I mean, it's cost effective, but like it's hard on the cow.
Oh yeah.
Really hard on them. So it makes sense that their meat would be different.
So anyways, you're talking about, vegan options.
Yeah. So from a vegan standpoint, one of the things that I always stress with people who are looking at veganism or trying it is that if you're a vegan, this is a little bit of my soapbox, that doesn't change your body's nutritional needs, right? So just because you decide you want to be vegan doesn't mean you get a hall pass on your protein needs. It means that you have to work really hard to get protein. And protein sources for vegans that are pretty solid include things like tofu, tempeh, seitan, things like quinoa, beans. Those are still predominantly carbohydrates, but they do offer higher protein content than a lot of other carbohydrate options. So you can include those as well. Then also usually looking at some sort of supplementation fits into a vegan strategy that's meeting protein demand. And a good high quality balanced protein that's like pea and rice protein usually will help with actually meeting all of the demands of protein for vegans.
If there was a not perfect, what's the best protein source for a vegan? Would it be tempeh or tempeh versus tofu? Like that drives me crazy because one's fermented and I'm trying to figure out like which is healthier.
Fermented is better.
Okay.
So fermented tofu is better for you than the other choices because it starts to break down some of the estradiols in it. And it makes it easier for your body to process. And if you look at traditional, like everybody, like the Okinawan culture, which is cited because it's a very, very healthy diet and it's a community that has incredible healthy longevity. So they're living into their, 100, 105, 110 and still active. And so that's cited as like a benchmark of a healthy diet. They are eating fermented tofu.
Okay.
So, and the idea is too that also feeds into your healthy gut biome and all of those elements.
But don't go to a sushi place and ask for natto. That's overly fermented. That's strong.
Right. Natto is good. It's good, but it's intense.
Not from a legit place. No, it's not good. It's
Well, I mean, good for you.
It's like a tequila shot for for taste buds. Okay, so yes, and because you see so much stuff out there. Normally, it's in the freezer section, and we talk, frozen vegetables, which are good, but like there's so much like processed junk out there. So they should they stay like by the veggies where the tofu and the tempeh are. Kind of stick with that area.
Yeah. So you'll notice what I did not say was like Impossible Burger or things like that. Like a healthy, like omnivore, you want to eat food that's as minimally processed as possible if you're a vegan. So if you're a vegan and you for your personal choices have decided not to eat meat, and that could be for moral reasons, it could be for digestive reasons, it could be for health reasons. Like there's a whole range of reasons people pursue veganism. So for whatever reason, substituting really highly processed food like Impossible Burger, I do not believe is positive for our diet. For the same reason, I wouldn't recommend super processed meat for an omnivore.
You are in the Houston running zone. We've got the runs.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast with the founder or CEO of Whole Foods. And he's basically saying like, vegan processed food is worse for you than meat.
Yeah. I mean, like if you look at the ingredient list, it is intense.
Yeah. And he's vegan. So,
gluten and it's stuff like that. If you're eating straight from the cornfields of Iowa and like all this stuff, like it's just not healthy food. I would so much rather see them like go eat some like fish, if like that, than like and add fish to their diet than to eat Impossible Burger. I really think that's a better trade-off.
Yeah, just eat the burger, live a little. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, well, let's do one more because I saw it on the list here. Was people that are eating like the white carbs. What are some of the easy switches to some healthy vegetables? And I'll put a link because we talked vegetables earlier for the previous episode. But there's some easy veggies that you can do. You can give people like let's go from a potato. And rice, and I'm probably offending everybody here, but what are some of the easy veggies or the healthiest veggies? Because sometimes you don't need a lot of veggies if they're super dense and rich and fun.
Yeah. So I think that most people are deficient in their vegetables. Like that's just a statement of fact. Like the people have a hard time eating enough because you have to keep them fresh. You have to keep them in the house. They need preparing. Like they tend to be the first thing that drops off the plate. The next thing is most of the things that we're used to eating are really carb based. So if you're used to eating like, pasta, rice, potatoes, tends to form the foundation of like all of our casseroles and Mexican food and, Asian food and like Italian dishes, like which can look like lasagna, enchiladas, pizza, like all of it has like carbs at the base, right? And so what we're saying is an easy way to get in some more, and none of those meals are ever served with vegetables. So one of the ways that you can get more vegetables into your life is to start doing some swapping or blending. So for example, if you're eating like rice, like add some cauliflower rice to it. You could do half and half, or you could do a wholesale switch. Like I can do half and half for my kids. They never notice the difference and they eat it just fine. So I'm like, total win, got some veggies in them. And you can buy cauliflower rice, like raw, frozen, pre-seasoned, like
super easy,
very accessible. It's everywhere. Also at Costco. And then, but same thing with like, if you're used to eating a lot of pasta, like add in some spiralized zucchini or replace it with spiralized zucchini or butternut squash if you need like a few more carbs, or, spiralized sweet potatoes. Like that will get you more nutrients than just eating the plain pasta. And then for potatoes, like potatoes are a little bit harder to substitute for. So, but I would advise adding in like some sweet potatoes or something like that, something that's really rich in vitamin A and potassium, which we definitely need as runners. And white potatoes, though, also have a benefit for potassium as well. I would just make sure that like it's not crowding out your entire plate, and maybe make sure that you're adding a side of like salad or something with that potato to make sure that you're getting in some green veggies with it.
I was at HEB Saturday morning. There's like 17 types of white potatoes. Like, are you more a fan of the small ones because there's more skin, or the red ones where you get a 5-pound bag, or the russet? I mean, what in the world? Like, what's a healthy white potato or a healthy?
Yeah. So the differences in the potatoes is they have different texture, which lends itself to different types of eating. So like russet potatoes make like ideal baked potatoes, like traditional, like bake them whole, cut them in half, and they're like, you cut them or mash them up. Yellow potatoes like Yukon Golds tend to make better mashed potatoes because they're creamier. So all of them have about the same carbohydrate load, same fiber load. It's going to be a matter of what tastes better to you. So usually I gravitate towards Yukon Golds or red potatoes. And I'll tell you the biggest reason why is they're smaller. Like they're about the size of one portion of like a carb. So like if you had one small Yukon Gold or red potato, that's about a portion for a meal, versus like cooking a whole russet potato when I'm like, it's going to take 4 of us to eat this, or I'm going to sit here and eat it because I cooked it. Like to me, it's a bigger commitment than I want to make, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Okay. Yeah. So. It's perfectly portioned out for you. There we go.
Yeah. That's a better way to say what I said. It was,
I'm still thinking about the baby food containers. I'll be ordering those. Oh, wow. And, I mean, yeah, I like how you, at the very beginning, you said we're not striving for perfection. Honestly, it's the first day of school for my daughter. We're going to Novi. It's going to be beer and nachos. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to pretend, but for lunch, I'm going to probably go straight up vegan, honestly, because I'll have chicken nachos later. So here's one question. I see a lot of microgreens coming up, microgreens popping up, at the farmer's market. And I got tired of like going to the farmer's market every Saturday and then coming back. So I heard another one about sprouts. I've been doing my own sprouts, broccoli sprouts, which are super healthy, super disgusting. But, I like the alfalfa and the salad mix. So sprouts versus microgreens, because I don't get it. What's better?
Yeah. So I'm really glad you brought these up. Okay. So for those of you who do not like vegetables, try to get in some microgreens, like start there, or sprouts, either one. So the idea is that, basically these are like newly seeded, newly sprouted seeds of vegetables, right? So like sprouts are like broccoli sprouts. Think about it. Trying to think of a good analogy. Think about it like a baby, right? Like when a baby is born, they are growing like a weed, like super, like their metabolism is on fire. They're growing and developing and maturing. The same thing is happening with a plant. That is their most nutrient dense stage of life, is they're exploding with their growth. And so it is eating microgreens or sprouts are a great way to like get in a lot of those nutrients, like sulfurine and vitamin A, all of these things, while the plant is really small and it's easily absorbed and digested in your body. So it's like a vitamin. It's like a multivitamin. It's great.
Okay. Because I remember when we get the microgreens, we could, clip them and add them to a sandwich or a salad. Or, we added them to everything. So, are sprouts or microgreens a little bit better than sprouts?
They're like the same. They're like, I wouldn't, you can mix them up for diversity. If you were going to pick one, I would probably pick broccoli sprouts.
Yeah. How do you make them palatable? I've been just putting salad dressing just so I can.
Yeah, like you can just put them on top of everything.
Okay.
But the microgreens are great. And the reason that they don't just wholesale replace vegetables is because they're not super high in fiber, and our bodies still need a lot of fiber. So that's the reason you have to get the fiber from somewhere. And usually vegetables or fruit is where you get most of your fiber in a day.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. The broccoli sprouts, because they're healthy, but yeah, I like the alfalfa, and there's a salad mix on Amazon, GMO, organic, all that stuff. It's relatively inexpensive.
They're pretty easy to grow yourself if you buy the seeds. So, anyway, that's like a whole other project,
Yeah.
but it's doable. This is actually one of the pandemic projects we took up in our household. Was we started last year when we were like at home, we're like, what can we do? We can grow our own sprouts. So we started doing that and have kept doing it. So
yeah. Well, I just did one on YouTube because I heard another podcast from dropping bombs on it. But yeah, I mean, like I just bought the lids because I have a ton of mason jars for some weird reason. I don't know why, because I make my own pickles. I'm super weird. But so yeah, for most people, is it just getting a sprouting jar and being able to rinse these things out a couple times a day? And
yeah. So you put you take the seeds, you put them in a mason jar. You need a special lid with like a wire mesh on top. You basically rinse the seeds out every day, and then you drain them upside down so that the water doesn't just sit in there on the seeds and like mold, but they need water to keep growing and everything. And then when the jar is full of sprouts, it's ready to eat, and you just repeat the process.
Okay, yeah, I got the lids where it does it like at an angle. Okay, so I'm not the only weird one. All right.
Nope, not at all.
Go to YouTube. It's pretty easy. Tablespoon fills up a mason. What is it? Wide mouth mason jar? What is it?
Yeah,
quart size?
Wide mouth mason jar.
Yeah, I think it's quart size. All right, cool. I remember we were going to be talking. I know we're kind of a little bit out of time, but I'll definitely have you back on because we were talking about emotional connection to food, and you just did a thing on macros. Actually, give us a sneak peek about macros, because a lot of times when people, when I forgot what fad diet was smoking through town, people started talking about macros, but it's really just fats, protein, and carbs, right?
So macros refers to the main food groups that we're eating. So, or how we break down our food, it's protein, fat, and carbs. And so, when people are talking about like, oh, I'm eating macros or I'm tracking macros, like they're talking about their food. And it's really just a way of dialing in the balance of how they're making up their calories in a day. So, earlier I was talking about protein, obviously one of the macros, and it can be very important to make sure you're in the ballpark of how much protein you need in a day on a daily basis, right? You want it to kind of average out over the week. With all of our clients, we really get into, what is your overall energy need? Are you meeting your protein needs? Are you eating the whole food we've been talking about, right? So like, are you nourishing your body? And then for some clients, like our marathoners, people who are really looking for more performance, or are really fast half marathoners, we start to get into like exactly what your best fat and carb balance should be. And the way we track that is by tracking your food on an app like MyFitnessPal, and then looking at how things balance within the day and teaching them how to like dial down their portions or adjust their portions to hit the right balance on a daily basis. What that balance looks like really depends on goals, health history, and activity. So there's not like one formula or ratio that fits all. It really widely varies depending on the individual, which is why we cover that in coaching versus just saying like, here's our recipe.
Here's the one size fits all. Yeah. That never works.
No.
All right, cool. Well, before I forget, I forgot how I signed up for your email list. Was it on your website, or was there a link on your social media? What's a good way to start getting these tips? And obviously, if people want coaching, it's a great place to go. You've given us enough knowledge here in 40 minutes that we could use, but what's a good way to follow you, to connect with you, and get all your information out there?
Definitely. I appreciate that. So on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, we're at Focused Fit Nutrition on both places. And then our website is focusedfitnutrition.com. And you can sign up for our newsletter there or reach out to me directly through any of those channels. And we will get in touch with you and set you up for, we start all of our clients off with what we call our breakthrough call. It's a no commitment call. It's just a phone call to really discuss where you are, what your goals are, and then we can assess whether or not we can help you. And it's at the same time, you get a chance to ask questions. So, and see if we're a chemistry fit for you. And I say we, because I have a team of 3 other coaches that work with me. So we work to balance our clients and make sure that clients are getting coaches with the right expertise and history to help them.
Oh, super cool. Excellent. Well, anything else you'd like to plug before I ask you some bonus questions?
No, let's go for bonus.
Okay, we'll call it the lightning round. It's never lightning. I should call it the non-lightning round, but I bought the sound effects. So there we go. All right. Question number 1. I know you do a lot of, you've done Ironmans. I know you're gearing up. I saw you at the Pearland Half and everything, but what inspires you personally to race?
It's changed over time. So when I first got into racing, it was because I had time. My husband was working a crazy job and I just needed a healthy hobby. And so that's kind of what I turned toward. Now, fast forward, I'm like in my mid 40s. It wasn't that long ago where I was so injured that doctors were like, you're never going to do this again. Like, you can run a little, you can bike a little, but don't expect to race again. And I put in like the crazy hard work with physical therapy that was more successful than they expected. And now I can race again. And now I'm just so grateful that I can do something I love. I can model healthy behavior for both my clients and my daughters. And it just fills me with joy to be out there that in our community too. I think, that was my personal thing. And then you go through a year where race after race after race was canceled. And it was so gut wrenching for so many people who had trained so hard. And now it's like, I just race for the joy of seeing people and being out there. And it's such great energy. And it really makes the training more interesting to have some sort of goal ahead of you.
Oh yeah, definitely need something out there. Yeah. All right. Question number 2, beach or mountains?
It depends. Like if I'm like going on a vacation where I like have the energy to do stuff, I want to be in the mountains where I can like hike and see things. And I actually just got back from Utah not too long ago because that's what we were doing. Nice. But if I'm like burnt to a crisp and exhausted, I just want to lay on the beach. So yes, both.
Yeah, I can combine them. I don't know. I'll just keep asking the question to random people and see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. And as you said, we're not striving for perfection. We all have some, it's a cheat day or cheat side, whatever. But what's your favorite culinary guilty pleasure?
I love the Houston foodie restaurant scene. So I love like a really good craft meal. So like I tried like my 20th wedding anniversary was last week. And we went to Blue Dorn for dinner.
Ooh, which one?
Blue Dorn, it's one of the newer, like highly acclaimed restaurants where we just got, it's a locavore restaurant. So they're focused on like local Houston food. And it was an incredible dinner. And so I really like when I go out to eat, those are the kind of meals that I want. I want like a good craft meal that's really an experience. A lot of the Chris Shepherd restaurants are like that. So I love food like that. If I'm cooking at home, like and thinking about like the holidays, it's a pecan pie every time. So that's like my ultimate treat.
No, but you make it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Because pecan pie from a store is just, I don't know, it just tastes like a loogie. And
it's just high fructose corn syrup. Like I do it with the real deal with like maple syrup, like the whole 9 yards. So
okay. Well, what'd you get when you went out to eat? And is it Blue Dorn?
Blue Dorn? Yeah.
Okay.
BLUDORN.
I'll be looking it up. Trust me.
Yeah. Let's see. I had the salmon. My husband had the grouper. And then for sides, we had like succotash, and summer squash. And then we started with like an ahi tuna dish. So.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. It's on, what is that? Is that the 6th ward?
I'm not sure. It's off of Taft. It's where Pass and Provisions used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it also a Chris Shepherd restaurant?
It's not, but those are some of my other favorite restaurants in town.
But yeah, we got to live a little. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Appreciate it. We'll definitely put, the links to everything, including Blue Dorn, but links to all your social media. Make sure to get on the email list. That is super easy to do. You get some tips. Is it once a week, it seems, or?
It's variable. It's once to twice a week. So, but we try to make it, I work really hard to make sure that people are aware of what we're doing from a marketing perspective, but that it always includes useful or inspiring information.
Yeah. So you're not perfect. You don't have to do it once a week. Maybe 2 weeks is fine.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, Lisa, and hopefully catch you up on another episode as well as a upcoming race.
All right. Thanks, Keith. It was great to talk.
As always, if you know someone that could use this information, please share it with them. And if you want to become the first to find out about upcoming weekly episodes, simply hit the plus or follow button. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Stitcher, where you can leave us a rating or review, we'd love it. And more importantly, looking forward to sharing another episode next week.
Thanks for visiting the Houston Running Zone. If you know someone you'd like to be featured in the zone, go to thehoustonrunningzone.com and send us a message. Until next week, always remember, Houston, we've got the runs.